Beyond the royal smile and the waves from the balcony, Princess Diana's life was a mosaic of mystery and resilience. Intrigued? You should be. We're about to take a detour off the beaten palace path to explore the life of Princess Diana with a few twists and turns. This isn't your average fairy tale, folks. I'm Your Majesty Eric, and your own Curiosity Corner. Let's rewind to a time before Diana became a global icon, when she was just Diana Spencer, a young girl growing up in Norfolk. It was the kind of upbringing that screams quintessentially British. Think countryside, aristocracy, and, well, more countryside. But don't let the idyllic setting fool you. Young Diana's life was anything but a pastoral paradise. Born into an aristocratic family, you might think Diana had it all. But here's where it gets interesting. Her childhood was marred by the parents' tumultuous divorce. It's like the universe set the stage for a life filled with more drama than a British soap opera. And let me tell you, the EastEnders had nothing to do with it. Diana's schooling was a mix of posh boarding schools and finishing school in Switzerland, which sounds fancy, but let's face it, it's essentially an etiquette boot camp for the upper class. Here, she learned all the skills a lady of her station should know. But spoiler alert, none of these classes included how to handle becoming the most photographed woman in the world. As we wrap up this stroll down memory lane, it's worth noting that young Diana was known for her shyness. Little did she know that her world was about to be turned upside down, and this shy girl would become an international sensation. Stick around, because we are about to see how our unassuming heroine steps into the spotlight. And trust me, it's not all fairy tales and curtsies. Capturing the imagination of millions in a world where every fairy tale promises a happily ever after. The courtship of Diana Spencer and Prince Charles was a spectacle. It seemed like a dream, a young, beautiful kindergarten teacher swept off her feet by the heir of the British throne. But was it really as enchanting as it seemed? The media frenzy around the relationship was unprecedented. Diana's every smile, gesture, and outfit was dissected and discussed. Her transformation from a private individual to a fashion icon and a media darling happened in the blink of an eye. But behind the flashing cameras and glamorous facade were whispers of a different story, one of adjustment, pressure, and unspoken expectations. Imagine being thrust into the limelight, every aspect of your life scrutinized. For Diana, the transition to royal life was like walking on a tightrope, balancing the demands of tradition with her own identity. How did she navigate the complex dynamics of royal life and marriage, especially with the world watching? And let's not forget that the royal family isn't just any family. It's an institution with its own rules and secrets. As we close this chapter on Diana's royal romance, we can't help but wonder, what was it like for a young woman to marry into such a powerful, scrutinized family? And as for the fairy tale, was it really as idyllic as it appeared? Or were there cracks in the facade? Stick around as we peel back the layers of this royal union in our next segment. Now, let's turn to the less glamorous side of Princess Diana's story. As the new Princess of Wales, Diana found herself in a world that was as daunting as it was dazzling. With its age-old traditions and protocols, the royal family was a labyrinth of unspoken rules, and Diana was expected to navigate it flawless. The relentless media scrutiny only added to her challenges. Every move, every fashion choice, every glance was captured and analyzed, often with a critical eye. It's one thing to be in the public eye, it's another to be under a microscope 24/7. How did Diana cope with this level of attention, especially when it veered into personal territories and relentless speculation? But Diana's struggles weren't just external. She grappled with feelings of isolation and the pressure to conform to the royal mold inside the palace walls. Her candid admissions about mental health and eating disorders were groundbreaking at the time and exposed the human side of royalty. This begs the question, what was the cost of living a life constantly in the spotlight? As we wrap up this part of Diana's journey, we're left wondering how she managed to maintain her composure and grace under such immense pressure. And perhaps more intriguingly, what was the true impact of these struggles on her personal life and public persona? Suppose you're finding these insights as revealing as a secret passage in Buckingham Palace. Why not show it by hitting the like button? It's a simple gesture that helps us share more royal tales. And stay tuned as we explore the transformative journey of Diana, from a princess in a palace to a global humanitarian icon. Now, let's pivot from the princess to the philanthropist. Diana's humanitarian work wasn't just a duty, but a passion. She lent her voice and presence to causes that were often overlooked or stigmatized. But why? What drove a royal family member to embrace such hands-on, heartfelt advocacy? Let's dive into this, shall we? Diana shattered royal precedents by reaching out to those suffering from AIDS and leprosy, challenging the public's perception and fear surrounding these diseases. She held hands with patients and sat beside them, offering compassion where others show reluctance. It was a powerful image, wasn't it? A princess not afraid to touch those deemed untouchable by society. Her commitment to banning landmines was another bold step. It wasn't just a photo op. She walked through minefields, metaphorically and literally. This was no mere royal engagement. It was a crusade. And let's not forget, this wasn't just any royal. This was Diana, a woman who had already faced her fair share of life's minefields. As we conclude this chapter on Diana's humanitarian legacy, we're left to ponder. What was the driving force behind her relentless chase of compassion and change? And between you and me, wasn't it refreshing to see a figure of her stature roll up her sleeves and get down to the nitty-gritty of real-world problems? Next, we delve into the tragedy that abruptly ended her remarkable journey. The mood shifts as we delve into this part of Diana's story. It's August 31st, 1997, a date engraved in the world's collective memory. The tragic accident in Paris that claimed Diana's life was not just a news event. It was a moment of collective heartbreak. But what led to this devastating turn of events? The paparazzi, ever present in Diana's life, played a controversial role that fateful night. The chase through the Parisian streets, the blinding camera flashes, the catastrophic conclusion, it all reads like a tragic scene from a movie, doesn't it? But this wasn't fiction. It was a harsh reality that raised serious questions about privacy, media ethics, and the ruthless tracking of public figures. In the wake of her death, the world stood still. People from all walks of life mourned. Flowers piled up outside palaces, and the globe paused in grief. It was a testament to Diana's impact and a potent reminder of the fragility of life. How did a woman so vibrant and full of life meet such sudden, tragic end? As we close this chapter on Diana's life, we're left with more questions than answers. What might have been had fate taken a different turn? And let's not forget the irony. A woman who spent her life in the spotlight met her end fleeing from it. Next, we explore the lasting legacy of the People's Princess, a story that continues to unfold today. Now, let's step back from the narrative momentarily and consider something. Diana's story didn't end in that Paris tunnel. In many ways, it was just the beginning. Her legacy is a mosaic of influence and inspiration that still resonates today. But what are the pieces that make up this enduring image? Diana redefined what it meant to be a member of the royal family. Her approachability, openness about personal struggles, and genuine empathy didn't just endear her to the public. They set a new standard for public figures. And let's be honest, who hasn't seen a bit of Diana's influence in the modern royal approach to charity and public engagement? Her impact on charitable causes is undeniable. The organizations she supported saw increased attention and funding, and her advocacy brought global awareness to previously stigmatized issues. It wasn't just about the causes, but about how she connected to people. Diana showed that empathy and compassion could be powerful forces for change. Now, what lessons can we learn from her story? And, in a more casual aside to you, dear viewer, don't you find it fascinating how one person's life can continue to inspire and provoke thought long after they're gone? Stick around for our conclusion, where we tie together the threads of Diana's remarkable story. It is time to step back and reflect. We've journeyed through Diana's highs and lows, witnessed her transformation from a shy young woman to a global icon, and seen how her legacy continues to shape our road. But what's the takeaway from all of this? Diana's life was a testament to the power of compassion and the impact of standing up for one's beliefs. She challenged norms, broke down barriers, and opened hearts. In doing so, she left an unforgettable mark on the world. But let's not kid ourselves, it wasn't all fairy tale. Her story was as much about struggle and pain as it was about glamour and charity. Her legacy lives on, not just in the charitable works she championed, or the ongoing fascination with her life, but in the conversations she started about mental health, about the role of the media, about what it means to be a public figure in a rapidly changing world. These conversations are her true enduring legacy. So, as we bid adieu to the tale of Princess Diana, let's remember her not just as a royal or a style icon, but as a human being who, despite her flaws and challenges, strived to make a difference. And between you and me, isn't that the most we can ask of anyone? Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I hope it's given you a new perspective on the people's princess. Made it to the end, you're practically royalty now. You deserve a crown. Before you go, leave a like as grand as a royal wedding, and hit the subscribe button with the grace of a Windsor family wave. Your support is more appreciated than a quiet day in Buckingham Palace. And if you enjoyed our Diana's portrait, come with us. We have many more, like this one, that we think is right up your alley. See you in the next video. Keep seeking knowledge and stay curious, my friends.